That was then. This is That was then. This is now. When growing up is a journey of painful choices. Another classic from the author of the internationally best-selling The Outsiders. Continue celebrating 50 years of The Outsiders by reading this companion novel. That was then. This is now. Is S.E. Hinton's moving portrait of the bond between best friends Bryon and Mark, and the tensions that develop between them as they begin to grow up and grow apart. A mature, disciplined novel which excites a response in the reader. Hard to forget. The New York Times. The line between companion and stranger. Welcome back. Have you ever had a best friend who felt more like a brother? Someone you thought would never leave your side, only to realize one day that you are both heading in completely different directions? S.E. Hinton, the legendary author of The Outsiders, returns with a story that is even more realistic and ruthless about youth. That was then, this is now. This is not just a novel. It is a mirror reflecting how we change when faced with the harsh realities of life. Today, let's explore why, in order to grow up, we sometimes have to let go of the people we love the most. The bond and the cracks. The story centers on Bryon and Mark. They grew up together, shared the same bed, fought side by side, and cared for each other like they were the same person. Mark is wild and reckless, a charmer who can smile his way out of any trouble. Bryon, however, begins to change. He starts thinking more about the future, about love, and about right and wrong. The rift between them opens when Bryon witnesses the devastating consequences of violence and drugs in their community. While Bryon strives to become a better person, Mark remains trapped in the old world, a world where the law doesn't exist and blind loyalty is everything. That is the core meaning of the title. That was then. They were one, but this is now, and everything has changed. Choosing justice over brotherhood. The climax of the book occurs when Bryon discovers that Mark has been selling drugs to provide for their family. This is the moment that excavates the character's core values. What do you do when your brother does something fundamentally wrong? Bryon's decision to call the police on Mark is one of the most controversial and heartbreaking endings in young adult literature. It is the moment Bryon chooses justice over kinship and reality over illusion. He realizes that love cannot save those who do not want to be saved. The price of maturity. This book teaches us a bitter lesson. Maturity is not just about growing physically. It is the moment you realize that every action has a consequence. Bryon chose to do the right thing, but the price he paid was an empty soul and the hatred of his best friend. Mark can never understand why Bryon betrayed him, because then they protected each other at all costs. But now, Bryon cannot close his eyes to the pain that drugs inflict on society. Bryon's growth ultimately killed their friendship. How have you changed? That was then. This is now is a reminder that we cannot stay the same version of ourselves forever. People change, values shift, and sometimes we must learn to walk forward alone. Thank you for listening to this summary. Have you ever had to make a painful choice to do the right thing? Share your story in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe as we dive deeper into books that transform our minds and souls. Always stay true to your values, no matter how high the cost. Until next time.